Hi, and welcome here. Today we're going to talk a little bit about more specific herbs and how to grow them and sustainable practices around that. So, if we were talking about one herb in particular, and let's pick chamomile because it's a really well known, easy to find herb. So, chamomile has traditionally been used for digestive support. It is a really supportive anti inflammatory. It is supportive as an anti anxiety plant that gives you a little bit of support for your nervous system. It is really fantastic for supporting sleep. It's great topically on sores, on acne. It is somewhat antibacterial. So, you have lots of really lovely features that you're working with just one plant. If you would pick 10 plants in your region, you would have an entire medicine chest for your general health. So when you're looking at choosing those 10 plants, like let's just say that you don't want to have 50 options. You want to know that you have 10 things that would support most of the common ailments that you would experience. Chamomile would be a really great one. And a good thing to look at is the weeds that grow around your home. A naturally growing plant that occurs regularly or frequently in your area. So that would be a really easy thing to look up and to do research on for yourself. It's hard to give specific information about that because we all live in different places, obviously. So if you were to be picking a plant, I would recommend something that could be taken as a tea, could be used topically, could be eaten if necessary, could be an essential oil. So give yourself lots of varieties. Tincture would be another. Lots of varieties of uses so that you are getting the most possible out of that particular plant. So if you're allergic to something, obviously that should not be a plant that's in your medicine cabinet, your herbal remedies box. But be aware that too much of anything can be poison. It can be toxic for you. So look up each plant in depth. Get a reputable plant encyclopedia. Don't trust Google. You need to get a book that has some basis of information in it instead of trusting just any random person. So trust literature that can be backed. So I use the encyclopedia for medicinal herbs. I use the prescription for nutritional healing. I use healing with whole foods. There are lots of options for you. So do some research, find some great books. If you want a book recommendation, you can ask. I'm happy to give you one. So those are things that I would look for. And then in that research, make sure that you're checking for any contraindications. Anything that's telling you that it's unsafe, any time of life that it's unsafe, check that it's safe or unsafe for pregnancy or nursing, for children, for around animals. Make sure that the plants you're choosing support your household. Whoever's in it, whoever enters it, make sure that it is safe for all of you. So if you wanted, and you're choosing these 10 plants, I want you to think about things you could potentially grow yourself. If you don't see them as like common weeds that are around, because there are a lot of those that are really fantastic medicines. So you can grow them. Roses in particular are an incredible plant. What a great ally to have on your property. So if you can get it, find a wild rose plant, and it can be white or pink. Those are the usual colors for wild ones. And plant one. Plant 5. Plant however many you feel you'll need. The rose petals themselves are fantastic for skincare. They're calming. They open the heart space. And then the rose hips are incredible for vitamin C. And they have all of their own benefits as well. So make sure that you are planting plants in the best area of your yard possible. Do specific research for each plant. Don't think that I'm going to put in a little herbal garden and that spot's going to be good for every plant you choose, because it is not true. You cannot put peppermint in a place that is too hot. and you cannot put chamomile somewhere that is too cold. And most of them need quite a lot of sun depending on the plant. So make sure that you're doing the research. Check your planting zone. I'm in a 3B right now, 4 depending on the winter, and I'm moving to a place that is a 6 or a 7. So the plants that I can grow in those two places are entirely different. So make sure you're checking your growing zone. Check the place that plant wants to grow, because it's going to be so much more beneficial to you if you are giving yourself as many good options as possible for each plant. When you are harvesting, again, each plant kind of needs specific research. If you're choosing something that's a big root, you're going to want to look up whether it's better to harvest in the spring or the fall, depending on the plant. You are going to want to make sure that you are choosing the right age of plant. Echinacea shouldn't be harvested before year 4, and burdock should be harvested in year 2. So you need to know what you're looking for, and then either plant that plant yourself so you know the actual timeline, or know how to age your plants, know how to gauge how old they are. So if you're choosing something that's leafy and green or floral, make sure you know whether or not you're taking the greens only, the flowers only, and why. And then usually with those plants, it's really important to get them before the sun touches them. You want them to be dry, no dew on them from the morning, but try to harvest them before the sun has touched them. You want them to have as many essential oils, as many medicinal properties in the leaves and flowers as possible when you harvest. So that's the best time for most aerial parts, the parts that are above the ground. But again, each plant has its own rules. So look that up if you want to be really specific and you want it to be as potent as possible. When you are drying and storing your herbs, you should do that as much as possible in the dark. I know that that's not possible for everyone, or maybe your space doesn't allow for that perfectly, but to the best of your ability, a dry, cool, semi-dark place that's not going to get them covered in dust. I bought a herb tunnel, which looks like a cloth mesh tube, and it has layers inside of it that become shelves, and it's entirely airy, and it hangs from like a ceiling hook or a clothing hanger, and you can put it in a closet. It fits pretty well. So find a darker space, but make sure that there's air movement. And the same for roots. Roots you want to wash really, really well in high quality filtered water. And then you're going to chop them as tiny as possible so that they dry as quickly as possible. You want that drying duration time to not be long at all. Then drying, after the drying portion is over for storage, you're going to put them in an airtight glass jar if possible. And if they're going to be in a space that light touches, colored glass is best, or you can do stainless steel canisters. That is also fine. If you're going to be storing them inside of a cupboard that's cool and dark, you do not have to go for the colored glass. It's just an option if there's going to be light touching them. When you are growing your own herbs, it is a really sustainable way for you to utilize them because you have access to them with ease, and you can choose to grow more or less depending on your need instead of going out into the wild and attempting to find these plants, unless it's like a dandelion and those are everywhere. But if you're harvesting something wild, make sure that you know that it's not sprayed with chemicals, it's not been sprayed with pesticides or herbicides. You want to make sure that it's as healthy and chemical-free as possible. If you are planting your own, planting from seed is obviously the most cost-effective, but if you are not a super green thumb at this point in your life, then buying a plant that's been started by someone else and planting it into your own garden is absolutely okay. You can even get herb towers and then just look up the plants that like to grow in the same kind of space and utilize that one space for those particular plants. So if we would look at common ailments that people have. Let's say anxiety, sleeplessness, stomach ache, headache, skin trouble of some kind. You could choose 5 or 10 plants to support those 5 things and have that be your herbal medicine chest. So you could choose chamomile and lemon balm for anxiety. You could choose peppermint and rosemary for headaches. You could choose lavender for sleeplessness. You could choose fennel for stomach ache. You could choose rooibos for stomach ache. Peppermint is also supportive. Spearmint. So you have lots of options, and they often overlap. They often have more than one purpose. Headache is supported by peppermint, but so is stomach ache. And so is sleepiness. So if you need a perk me up, peppermint's a really good support of that. Whereas spearmint is a little bit more calming and soothing, is still going to support stomach indigestion and will support just that down regulation of the nervous system. So when you're looking up plants and you want to create this herbal medicine chest of your own, pick things that support you in as many ways as possible, and then have them in several different options. If you can get the essential oil and the tea and that's all you need, great. If you want the essential oil, the tea, and the tincture, great. Those are all options. And they're easy to use, which is really important. When you're preparing any herbal remedy, understand that consistency is going to be important and patience is as well. So if you have chronic headaches, you can look at more sources than just adding peppermint oil to your head. So when you're looking to the root cause, you can support that discovery process with herbs as you go. That's another really great way to utilize plants, and then start to utilize food and the source of your water as a great way to address your health in its entirety in a holistic way. Always with ongoing health concerns, if you are concerned and it has been occurring for a period of time that makes you feel maybe unsafe or makes you feel like you need more support, get help. You shouldn't have to do these things all on your own. So go see any medical provider you trust, go see a herbalist, go see a holistic doctor, go see a naturopath, go see someone who is able to support you in your health journey. When we are utilizing plants that maybe, let's say, don't grow near us, or if they do grow near us, they're endangered, we have to realize that being sustainable is incredibly important. If we want this plant to stay in our lives, we need to make sure that we are harvesting sustainably. You should never, ever, ever take more than half if you are wild harvesting anything. And even with that, less than half is better. And then don't go back to the same place over and over and over. Make sure you spread it out. If you can, find a way to propagate that plant on your property or on somebody's property that you know, so that you have more access to it and you again can create more if you need more. And if you're purchasing a plant that you can't grow, try and choose a company that has sustainable harvesting practices, is organic, is really great in their overall business ethic. So when you look at that, see if they are wild harvesting or if they are planting, and if they are replenishing, and if they have like a replanting practice and what that looks like for them as a company. And then if you are looking at a plant that is sacred to any peoples, always harvest with respect and preferably with permission. That's a really important act of respect and care and awareness that we can all practice, which is supportive of all cultures. When you're looking at a company, I really have enjoyed Mountain Rose Herbs. That's a company that I really appreciate, and I really also like Organic Matters. So if you're looking for any, those are the two that I utilize the most. I do have a few others that I will utilize if I can't find what I'm looking for with those two companies. So if you're looking for recommendations, I have more. You are welcome to reach out and ask about them if you would like to. I use herbs all day, every day. So it's become such a natural part of my day-to-day care that I sometimes have trouble even realizing that it's so normal for me and it's maybe not for everyone else. So I'll often put an essential oil drop into my 6.0 water as a support for my skin as a toner. That'll often be chamomile. It's a lovely little astringent, very nice on the skin. Sometimes it's blue tansy because of the anti-inflammatory effect. So it depends on the day. And then I will often utilize herbal teas through the day. That's usually my go-to. I have a nourishing tea blend that's just full of vitamins and minerals, and it's a way to support my body and my mineral health in particular through the day, and I really love that blend. And it was actually the first tea blend I ever made, and that would have been about 14 years ago at this point. So it's been in my life for a long time, and I have adjusted and added to it over the years just to suit my own personal needs and the needs of my family. When you're making a smoothie, you can always add some type of plant support. So if you need a little bit of kidney support, if you need a little bit of anxiety support, if you need any of those things, you can always add a drop or two of tincture. You can add a dropper full. I take a peppermint spirit when I am feeling a little bit cloudy in my mind. So you can utilize those things into a smoothie, into a tea, into a water bottle. I have often done a sprig of peppermint or spearmint into my water bottle, and then like a wedge of lemon or a wedge of lime, and given myself that to drink and have it be really refreshing and brightening instead of just water. So those are options. I will use lemon juice in my hair if it's looking dingy. I will use lemon juice on my skin if it's looking dingy. I have so many, and it's hard for me to go through them all. I have an immune system tincture that I take most days. I have a digestive blend that's also a tincture that I use when my digestion's feeling a little slow or groggy. So herbs can become a part of everyday life. If I'm doing a facial, I will add rosemary to my steam bath for my face. I will use herbs or teas in my bath. I will often do a turmeric tea, so it's anti-inflammatory. I will do lemon balm as well, so it brings down that nervous system as well. So lots of options and lots of ways to utilize plants through your day. Aromatherapy is a really supportive one for your state of emotional being, how you feel. So if you have any questions, if you want to know about a specific plant or a specific support that you're looking for, feel free to leave that in the comments. I am more than happy to dive into that for you or send you a resource to give you support with that. And with that, we are all done for the day. Thank you so much for listening.